This is Debra Atkinson, and you're listening to Flipping 50, where I address your top questions and struggles, and I share what to eat, how to move, and how to think to get the energy and the vitality you want in this second and better half. And today it's just you and me, sister. So this is also, I got to tell you this is Sunday morning as I'm recording, is kind of that Sunday morning before what my son, my 24-year-old, calls the Sunday scaries, now that he too has a big job on Monday mornings, sometimes on the weekends. But when in the afternoon it starts to feel like, oh, there's not too much time left. But Sunday morning, it's just kind of still feel good. And that's where I'm at. So if you can imagine that, I'm about to get a second cup of mashed tea. And I'm talking to you first. Is your exercise really hormone balancing? That's what I'm diving into today. And before I do, I want to give a shout out to aerobicqueen. That's her handle on iTunes, where she left this comment. This is my favorite health-related podcast because Debra uses science-based information and is extremely easy to like. I'm a health coach, and I know how much misinformation there is out there and how much work it is to weed through it. And Debra does a great job at that. You can trust she knows what she speaks of. I do wish the podcasts were a bit longer, though. I hate to have to stop my workout to find another LOL. Thanks so much, aerobicqueen. I really appreciate it. And in fact, when it comes kind of peer-to-peer, as someone who actually might be in midlife, but also who's in the industry, so nice to get a compliment like that. And I really appreciate you taking the time. But I would love to hear from all of you who are listening. What do you think? We've actually purposefully kept podcasts between 25 and 30 minutes. In fact, I'm very specific when I talk to guests coming on that that's where we keep it, because I want to be mindful of your time. And we can give you the episode with the best of the information without taking a lot of your time up. That's been really important. It does fit right into hormone balancing exercise and fitness prescriptions, but I want to hear from you. Tell me what you'd like. Is the current length good? 25 to 30 minutes, and you might find that there are some that go longer depending on the topic with a guest usually, but there are some that also are shorter. So I want to hear from you. What's optimal length for you? Shorter, longer, 30 minutes, what? And last, this is a quick announcement before we get rolling. The 28-day Kickstart is open when this podcast first airs for 2 more days. When it's closed, and I can't change that date and time. So purchases that are made after 11:59 p.m. on Wednesday will be refunded, or you can apply it to another program. But the doors close, and this is the last of this 28-day Kickstart as it is. It's been extremely popular. I have loved doing it. We've done it for over 3.5 years now, and we've helped a lot of people. But at that point, I always feel like I can level up, and I can see where making some separations and remodeling this course would help me help even more women. So that's what we're going to do in 2020. That's already in the works. But if you want live coaching with me during that month when food is everywhere and exercise may get the squeeze, get registered. And this could be your healthiest holiday season. I'll put the link in the show notes. So let's get to it. This past week, some questions have come up in our community, and I want to address them here so you understand the difference too, and you'll understand what I'm talking about in a second. This is a regular question when I'm a guest on podcasts or summits or on a panel. So I feel like I'm talking about it all the time, but this is something I may take for granted that you already know the answer to. Is your exercise really hormone balancing, or are you following still that more traditional and conventional exercise prescription, which actually causes hormone imbalance? So let's make sure you get it. and understand where I'm coming from. The biggest key difference in the traditional approach to exercise and hormone balancing exercise is that you choose and you adjust your exercise program based on your hormone status. A trainer asked me yesterday about having her clients do their workouts at 9 or 10 p.m. if that's the only time that they could do them. The answer to that is no, 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 absolutely no. Hormone balancing exercise is not about a quota of exercise. It's like if you can't get it in, you have to get it done at this time. It's not like a dog waiting to go outside and the optimal time would have been 5 or 6 p.m., but you didn't get home until late. So then you take it out at 9. Yes, right, but not with exercise. So it's not a quota of exercise used to burn calories. It isn't a matter of if you don't burn the calories today, then you can't lose the weight. And unfortunately, that is so backward. It's a perfect example of what not to do. But unfortunately, even this question from a trainer who said she was focusing on women in midlife and older reflects the default to years of conditioning that just getting exercise is more important than hormone balancing. There's more to this too. When you get sick or injured, what's your first thought? For women who are in the middle of a perfect storm of hormone chaos and stress with busy lives, the first thoughts are often, oh no, I can't exercise. I'm going to get behind, or I'm not going to be able to exercise before, therefore I won't lose weight. Or this may just be exercise is your mechanism, your means to deflecting stress, and you feel like I have no other tools in my toolbox, so I'm going to be stressed until I can exercise. You probably need to put something in that toolbox otherwise. It's like this inconvenience of illness or injury disrupting the path to exercise and weight loss or stress reduction. In fact, injury and illness are related to your hormone balance too. Women who get itis injuries like plantar fasciitis, tendinitis, or carpal tunnel. And by the way, itis means chronic. You may feel like you just got it. Last week you didn't know you had it, but this week you've been told that's what it is. It didn't come on quickly. Itis kinds of problems not only last longer, but they take months, weeks to develop. So be careful about how you talk about it, but do really think about it. Even carpal tunnel, women don't put together that the breakdown that allowed those injuries to happen is related to hormones. Illness is your immune system depleted. It's not exposure alone. It's about you. It's not that aggravating seatmate on the plane with the sniffles. There are clues about what's going on with your hormone balance too, just like belly fat and hot flashes are clues. They leave clues about how to adjust exercise to get better results. And that's not just go hard with your upper body while your foot is hurt. Hormone balancing exercise measures first what's happening in your body. Every system from your endocrine system, that's your hormone central, to digestion, elimination, cardiovascular, skeletal, muscular, and more, give you messages about how it's working. You can't train your muscles or your cardio system at the expense of the rest. They work in unison, or as in exercise, we're used to saying in integration. Traditional exercise, on the other hand, starts with a quota. Like get your 3 to 5 sessions of cardio, get your 2 to 3 sessions of weight training, and do flexibility enhancing exercise most days of the week. Now that last one, flexibility mobility work, I would agree with. But for everyone every week, always the same, there's a zone or a level of intensity and duration recommended as well for everyone, again, all the time. While sometimes there isn't a gender or an age difference in exercise research, most times there is for a woman in midlife, especially in perimenopause, menopause, and postmenopause, which is really till you die, right? You're in postmenopause. That makes more than 61% of exercise research useless for you since it all features males, young, fit males. That's the statistic. The percent of research on the exact moment you're in is very low. However, I want you to know it's the only research used for flipping 50 programs. In addition to the data that we're collecting every time we run a program, the pre and the post results, names are spared, but we need to know that real people go through our programs. We look at their befores, their afters, and we look at literally how well they complied and look at the data there. So we're collecting more as proof that it works. The problem with traditional exercise is that it ignores unique needs. Your trainer or you may still default to traditional exercise logic if you're not getting results, because that's the only thing that you've been trained to do. You've been conditioned hard for decades to exercise more and eat less. Exercise at the wrong time, like really wrong, like the example above, or even mostly wrong, like late afternoon doing high intensity interval training versus morning, damages your endocrine system first, and that slows your metabolism. It will affect your immune system, your digestive system, your elimination, and more. It ends up being a vicious cycle. So your nervous system would suffer if you didn't sleep well. And after, disrupting your endocrine system by trying to exercise your cardio system or your muscular system late at night. In the end, that actually damages your cardio and your circulatory systems. So it doesn't actually even accomplish the goal, but we mistake it for, I have to exercise, I have to burn those calories, I have to check that box off my to-do list today, thinking that in the long term that'll do us good when it does us harm. It's exactly the kind of thing that happens when you've got belly fat or weight that you can't budge and you're exhausted, but you're exercising like crazy to get rid of it. And this isn't a solution, by the way. You ignore one problem to solve another, and you will make it all worse sooner rather than later. If you realize that hormones need to be in optimum condition to support your metabolism, you focus first on hormones and all systems, not calories or quotas of exercise. So stop there for a moment, because immediately most women and trainers will think, oh, I have to get my labs tested and maybe get my hormones straight and take bioidenticals before I exercise. No, and no. You can use your exercise to enhance hormone balance right now, today. You have the power to positively influence your hormones with every act or inaction. And you learn, or you get support from a Flipping 50 specialist to read your current status and respond. And that's not to say labs are bad or that you don't use them if you've done them, but it's not like shut down, don't exercise, and go to a doctor. That's not what we're saying. Your body never lies. We're getting clues all the time. That's hormone balancing exercise. Say doing yoga, if you love it and it relaxes you, or deep breathing, maybe more fat loss enhancing than a vigorous workout if you're exhausted or you're constantly stressed. If you're finding you're sick more than a couple times a year, you have allergies, or you get injured frequently, less is more. You've got to look at your micronutrient status too, because injuries and illness deplete them, or you may have been depleted and that's why they happen. Use clues that your body leaves you. In a sense, you're a detective. If you're always keyed up, full attention, setting your jaw, you're in a hurry, your sympathetic nervous system is always on. That's a state of being where your body is not going to burn fat or release weight. It's protecting you in a way that's backfiring, but it is. You want to get into parasympathetic, where your body functions better when it's not on alarm. Good things happen in parasympathetic mode. You secrete more stomach acid to digest food better. You extract the goodness from food for the use of your body better. You can exercise and get positive results instead of adding negative stress. Exercise, by the way, is stress, but it can be optimized. To an already stressed body, more exercise, just kind of blankly doing more, is one of the worst things you could do. How do you get a sense of what's happening with your hormones without labs? Short of me sitting down with you, I just created a quick 18-minute or 18 question quiz, a 2-minute, by the way, 18 question, 2-minute quiz. All you're going to do is rate your response to easy questions like, how's your sleep? 1 through 5. 5 being, it's awesome. Wake up rested, sleep through the night, get to sleep easy. I mean, that's how you're going to rate all of these questions I'm asking you. You'll get a score within 2 minutes, but you'll get a wake-up call on every question and where you need to focus. So keep track of anything that you answer 3 or lower to. So I could say 3 or higher is good, but actually 4 and 5 is where we want to be, right? We want to thrive. I don't want to be a 3 out of a 1 through 5 scale. Do you? I mean, that's kind of average. Your parents never looked at you when you were in the cradle and said, oh, I hope you're average, right? So, shoot for the top and keep track of those answers where you're answering 3 or lower. I'm going to put the link to this quiz. It's just super simple. You'll just open it up. It'll say, ready to go, let's go. And you'll just go question by question by question. And I encourage you not to sit and be thoughtful about it, really. Just follow your gut answer right away, like immediately, boom and boom. Just realize throughout, 5 is great. The status is great. There's nothing you could improve about that. You really feel good about it. And then you'll be fine. Your score at the end will give you some idea of, out of a score of 90, because each question's worth 5 points, how do you do? But more importantly, think about each and every question. So thanks so much for being here. Thanks for listening. And you can find the show notes for today's show. I'd love it if you leave me a question and or a comment at flipping50.com. Balancing exercise with a dash between. I love to hear from you, and I would love to hear from you on the Link the Podcast, actually, among other things. If this episode was helpful, please leave a rating in iTunes and then share it with a friend. Surround yourself with a supportive community of women on the same journey. To get the most from this week's episode, check out today's show notes again at flipping50.com/balancing exercise. Consider leaving us a comment in iTunes, and I would love to see you in November if you happen to be listening to this in the fall. But whenever you come, the same information here applies. What are you waiting for? Let's start flipping 50 together.